Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Matchstick mini-series of tutorials. In this video, we're going to be talking about a very important aspect of unit testing, and that'll be testing logic in your subgraph, in your mappings, that depends on the metadata of your event. Because really often people use metadata in the events that they're getting when the events are being ran through the handlers. And depending on that event metadata, different conditional logic is being run. So that can be things like, the block or log type, log index, everything like that. And we have put together all of those fields that usually are in the metadata of the events over here in the new mock event function. So as we spoke about in the previous videos, we have a create new gravatar event function, which is a helper function, which actually uses new mock event, which is coming from Matchstick AS. This, by the way, just the utils file with a lot of things that we don't really need to care about for now, because we are just using this test file here, and we're relying on the create new gravatar event. So by default, when we mark our events with the new mark event function from Matchstick AS, we get a lot of fields for granted, and you can check all of those fields in the documentation, but I just want to show you how to actually use them. So over here is actually your typical marked event, and then that marked event gets handled. We don't really need to handle it for this test case, so I'm just going to remove that. So what we can do is we can actually say new gravatar event, and by the way, it already has some all of the metadata with marked values in it, but we want to specify specific metadata because, for instance, we have some logic that relies on a check to see if the block number is above a certain number, and if it is, do some logic. If it isn't, do some other logic. So and here you can see basically the things that are in the metadata: address, block, log type, log index, transaction, transaction log index. Right now we can just do address, so you can access those fields directly through the event object, but you can also set them like this. Let me just put in some mock data here. So let's say we need our address to be to have this value in order to test it, but of course it can't be a string, so it actually needs to be the address type coming from GraphTS. So we're going to do address from string, and you can do this for like any data type in there. And there we go, we've set it now. So as I said, we can have some logic that checks if the address is a specific value a bit down the line in the handler, but I just want to showcase another cool feature of Matchstick is the assert. Inside of the assert namespace, basically inside of assert, we've seen that using assert, we can check for if a certain entity with a certain ID and a certain value exists in the store. But we can also check for variable equality using the equals method, which takes in two values. But there's also a bunch of helper methods here, like address equals, array equals. Of course, we have not null, assert null, assert true, and all of that. And in this case, we're going to be using address equals, and we're just going to take the address that's in the event that we've set here, and we're going to say, well, we expect it to equal to this. Of course, this check here is really dumb, but this is just to simulate some conditional logic down the line in the handler. Let's do yarn test. And there we go. Our test called metadata has actually passed because we have successfully set a custom value for a metadata field in our object. I hope you enjoyed this video. We also showcased some we also showcased the different equality methods on the assert namespace. So I hope this was helpful for you all, and see you in the next one.